a photograph detonated online. A tech mogul, an A-list movie star, and a high-profile attorney, all revealed to be college roommates. Almost no one noticed the back of a fourth head in the corner of the frame. That was Asher. Shortly after, the trio was announced as the cast for a new reality show about friendship. The producers contacted him. The appearance fee was substantial, so he agreed. The three of them had no idea their old caretaker was coming back. The old dorm photo had climbed to the top of the trending charts. In it, Mason Hayes, the future legal eagle, held the phone for a selfie. Behind him were the tech prodigy Leo Vance and the soon-to-be heartthrob Julian Croft. The revelation that they were roommates sent shockwaves across the internet. Speculation ran wild about how greatness is drawn to greatness, how one room could contain so much talent and ambition. The public clamored for them to appear on the popular show, Friends Forever. Lost in the noise was the fourth person in the photo, a head bent in concentration over a video game. That was Asher, the one they had all once jokingly called their dorm dad. Soon after, Friends Forever officially announced the three men would be joining the cast. Somehow, the production team found Asher's contact information and extended an invitation. Looking at the generous offer, he accepted. He mused that while three was a crowd, for just dissolve the friendship into something more practical, like roommates or a project group where politeness was the only rule. When Asher arrived at the studio, individual interviews were already underway. The show was broadcast live, priding itself on authenticity, a format that had cemented some friendships while shattering others. Leo Vance, the tech billionaire, was in the hot seat. The host posed a series of challenging questions, which Leo answered with calm detachment. It was clear their university bond was strong and they had kept in touch. The host then asked if, as the youngest of the three, he was often taken care of by his older roommates. It was a simple question, but for the first time, Leo's stoic expression cracked. A flicker of hurt crossed his face, his eyes shifting from the host to the camera lens. He stated that he didn't need looking after and was perfectly capable of caring for others himself. This uncharacteristic vulnerability sent the live chat into a frenzy. Next was Mason, the lawyer, who was a year ahead of the others in college. The host asked if his seniority meant the younger roommates listened to him. Mason paused, a thoughtful look on his face, before revealing that while he was the oldest, the real authority in the dorm was someone else entirely. The host, amused, suggested it must be Leo, given his earlier comment about wanting to be a caretaker. Mason smiled, lost in a memory. He explained it wasn't Leo, and then drew attention back to the viral photo, asking if anyone had noticed the fourth person. He described this person as a worrier, or at least that's how they had all seen him back then. When it was Julian Croft's turn, the atmosphere shifted. Known for his unfiltered, chaotic personality when not acting, he was a fan favorite. The questions for him were more direct. The host playfully asked which of his two famous friends he preferred. It was meant to be a light-hearted moment, but Julian's expression soured. He snapped that he didn't care about either of them, sparking immediate speculation about the authenticity of their friendship. Was Julian forced to be there? Was he tired of playing along while Leo promoted his company and Mason networked for clients? After the interviews, the three sat together, their easy camaraderie seemingly dispelling the rumors. But the host had one more surprise. He announced a special mystery guest, an old acquaintance of all three. As he spoke, the faces of Leo, Mason, and Julian changed simultaneously, their eyes fixed on the curtained-off area where Asher stood. The host asked Asher to define his relationship with the three men. Asher let out a quiet sigh. With their current fame, his appearance as their unknown former roommate would inevitably be viewed with suspicion. Still, he needed the money. He answered simply that their relationship was paternal. A murmur went through the audience. Leo didn't wait, striding forward and pulling the curtain aside himself. He said Asher's name, a plea and a statement in one. Asher reflexively told him to call him by his last name, a formality he'd always insisted on. But Leo persisted, calling him Asher again, his hand gripping Asher's, silently begging him not to leave. This was a conversation they'd had countless times before. When they first met, Leo had respectfully called him by his last name, but somewhere along the line that had stopped. Mason stepped forward, gave Asher a brief, welcoming hug and a nod. Only Julian remained seated, scowling, ignoring Asher's outstretched hand. The audience chat lit up with questions about who this newcomer was and why Julian seemed to despise him. The host prompted the men to introduce their guest. With Leo still clinging to his hand, it was Mason who spoke. He introduced Asher Cole as their fourth roommate, the person from the back of the photo, and a very good friend. Asher offered a small wave to the camera, introducing himself as the roommate of the 3 stars. The online reaction was mixed, with many accusing him of clout chasing. The host then turned the conversation to Asher's career. It was a calculated move. The show's researchers would have already vetted him. The question was designed to highlight the immense success of the other 3. Asher calmly stated he was a teacher. When asked what subject, he hesitated before saying he taught a little bit of everything. The online mockery was swift and cruel. Viewers quickly discovered he taught at a small, private school for students with special needs, a school with only a few dozen students and no state credentials. The chat filled with derisive laughter. A flash of anger crossed Asher's face as he saw the comments on a monitor. He looked directly into the camera, his voice firm. He said they could insult him all they wanted, but they were not to insult his students, whom he described as good, kind, and wonderful kids. The other 3 saw the comments as well. Julian suddenly spoke up, his voice sharp with accusation. He asked Asher if his students knew that after he was done with them, he would cut them out of his life completely, just like he had done to the 3 of them. He was right. 5 years ago, on graduation day, Asher had sent all 3 of them the exact same message before blocking their numbers. Now he was here, shamelessly participating in a show about their friendship. The audience's perception shifted. Julian's hostility was suddenly understandable. Mason's reserved greeting made sense. Only Leo's desperate grip seemed out of place. Later, during a segment where the guests were supposed to cook a meal together, the group's dysfunction was on full display. Mason couldn't cook due to an old injury to his right hand. Julian, having grown up wealthy, had never learned. And Leo, the genius, was a disaster in the kitchen. Asher sighed and reached for an apron, but found it was already being tied around Leo's waist. Leo announced that he had learned to cook, that he could take care of Asher now. The boy who couldn't even make his own bed was now a competent chef. Asher tried to help, worried Leo might hurt himself, but was gently pushed out of the kitchen. Leo looked at him with the same pleading, puppy dog eyes he'd used 6 years ago, and Asher found he couldn't resist. Mason leaned against the doorframe, telling Asher to trust Leo. He explained that Leo now handled everything himself, cooking, cleaning, driving, without any household help. He gave a thumbs up, attesting to Leo's culinary skills. Julian just scoffed from the living room. He asked Asher if he had any idea how much damage he had done with a single throwaway line. "I hate people who can't take care of themselves. Don't contact me again." He accused Asher of turning a brilliant mind, once focused only on code, into a neurotic, all-purpose butler. Julian's ears were slightly red as he declared that he, at least, wasn't falling for Asher's manipulation. Asher was stunned. He hadn't realized that a random excuse he'd invented on the spot could have had such a profound impact. He admitted quietly that Julian was right, that it was all his fault. Julian shot back, denying he hated him, but grumbling that he hadn't even thought about Asher until he showed up again. When Asher had first met them, he was returning to school after a year-long medical leave. He was assigned to a room of misfits, 3 students who had been kicked out of their previous dorms for various reasons. There was Mason, a third-year pre-med student, Julian, a second-year economics major, and Leo, a 17-year-old computer science prodigy who had skipped a grade. Asher, also a second year, was studying literature. On his first day, the room reeked of stale liquor. Mason was passed out on his bed. Julian, whose family lived nearby, was gone. Only Leo was at his desk, tinkering with his computer, surrounded by a mess of tangled sheets and clothes. Asher decided then and there that he would become the responsible one, the dad of the dorm. He tapped on Leo's desk. The boy looked up, his eyes wide and curious. Asher introduced himself. Leo mumbled a hello and immediately turned back to his screen. From the bed, Mason mumbled that Leo had social anxiety and to not take it personally. Asher asked if they wanted to get dinner. Mason, without opening his eyes, asked Asher to bring him back some food, jokingly offering to call him Dad in return. The first son was acquired so easily. After returning from the campus dining hall with 3 trays of food, he placed one on Mason's desk and another on Leo's. Leo stared at the food, then at Asher, utterly confused. He seemed to be processing a situation more complex than any algorithm. He asked why Asher had bought him food. Asher saw the innocence in the boy's eyes and explained that as roommates, it was just something people did. Leo confessed that his former roommates had only ever complained about his messiness and awkwardness before kicking him out. Asher felt a pang of sympathy. He assured Leo that he was different and enjoyed bringing him food. Noticing the state of Leo's bed, Asher then tidied it up for him. Leo watched, mesmerized, his computer forgotten. He thanked Asher, who brushed it off, telling the boy to just call him by his first name. The next day, a flamboyant figure burst into the room, exclaiming about the sudden cleanliness. It was Julian, dressed head to toe in designer clothes. He sized Asher up, mockingly asking if he was some kind of dorm mom. Asher retorted that he could be his dad too, offering to grab his meals and sign him in for classes. Julian sneered, unimpressed, stating he had his meals delivered from a high-end restaurant. Mason, stirring from his slumber, confirmed that Julian was a trust fund kid who wouldn't be caught dead eating cafeteria food. Asher, undeterred, pointed to the overflowing trash can and told the young master to take it out, since Asher had cleaned up everyone else's mess but his. Flustered and outmaneuvered, Julian grabbed the trash bag and stomped out. The meal Leo prepared was surprisingly delicious. He had made a full 4-course meal, and he refused to even let Asher help clear the table. Mason and Julian dug in as if it were a regular occurrence. The online comments praised the trio's close bond, noting how comfortable Mason and Julian were with Leo cooking for them, while Asher seemed like an outsider. They recalled Julian's earlier words, speculating that Asher had once bullied Leo for his lack of practical skills out of jealousy for his genius. Asher took a bite and complimented the food, noticing that Leo himself wasn't eating, just watching him. Leo's eyes curved into crescents as he said that now he could cook, clean, and do many things. Asher felt a wave of guilt. He had never imagined his casual lie would be taken so seriously. He had never wanted to care for Leo. He had wanted to care for him for a lifetime, but he couldn't. His only goal back then was to make them forget him. He told Leo he was truly impressive now, developing amazing robots and becoming so self-sufficient. Leo's smile grew wider. He said he had a lot of money now and could take care of Asher, pleading with him not to leave again. Asher sighed, finally telling the truth. It was his fault. He never hated taking care of them. That was just an excuse. Julian shot to his feet, his voice trembling with repressed anger. He reminded Asher that it was Asher who had started it all, that none of them had asked for his help in the beginning. He choked out a single, heartbroken question. Why? The emotional turmoil was too much for Leo. His breathing became shallow, his face and lips turning pale. He stared at Asher, 1,000 unspoken questions in his eyes, but all he could manage was a whispered, "Asher, why?" He couldn't understand. If Asher truly disliked him, or if it was all just a cruel joke, why would he have spent 3 years living with him, taking care of him every day? He resolved then that if the old reason was a lie, he would find the real one. That night, the show's producers had only arranged for 2 bedrooms, meaning 2 people would have to share. Leo immediately claimed the spot with Asher. The other 2 were more than happy to have their own space. The room had 2 separate beds. After Asher finished his shower, he found Leo already tucked into one of them. When Asher moved towards the other bed, Leo's eyes drooped with disappointment. Asher remembered how in college, Leo would always accidentally spill water on his own bed to have an excuse to share Asher's. The city they lived in had cold winters without central heating, and having a warm body next to him was nice. He never called Leo out on it. When Asher woke up the next morning, he was in Leo's arms. Leo had moved his pillows over during the night. He blinked sleepily, feigning innocence, and claimed he had developed a sleepwalking problem since Asher had left 5 years ago. Asher knew he was acting, but he had always been powerless against him. Leo pressed his advantage, saying that since it was Asher's fault, he should compensate him by sharing a bed again that night. The second day's activity was a tour of Mason's law firm, a prestigious office in the city's most expensive district. It reminded Asher of the person Mason used to be, a brilliant pre-med student, top of his class, who drank himself into a stupor every night. Mason's dream of becoming a surgeon had been shattered by a hand injury he sustained while defending someone. One day, Asher had organized a hiking trip. He essentially forced a hungover Mason to come along, even having Leo and Julian carry him on a makeshift stretcher part of the way up the mountain. At the summit, as they watched the sunset, the 4 of them were quiet. Asher had remarked how good it was to be alive. Mason had countered, asking what the point of living was when he could no longer hold a scalpel. Asher didn't offer empty platitudes. He simply said that, at the very least, the sunset was beautiful. He asked Mason what else he had ever wanted to be besides a doctor. After a long silence, as dusk settled around them, Mason finally answered that he had once thought about being a lawyer. Asher simply asked, why not try? After that trip, Mason stopped drinking. He switched his major to law, completed his degree in record time, and became the legal powerhouse he was today. The third day was a visit to Leo's company, a campus filled with advanced robots. Asher remembered the first small robot Leo had built in their dorm room. After taking a picture of Asher, Leo had programmed the robot to recognize and greet him. Now, as Asher walked into the main hall, rows of sophisticated robots turned their heads in unison, their optical sensors glowing red. In a synchronized, synthesized voice, they all said, "Hello, Asher Cole." Leo, flustered, tried to pull him away, but it was too late. Asher recalled seeing a window-washing robot on a skyscraper once that had greeted him by name. He'd assumed it was standard for all visitors. Now he knew he was the only one. He told Leo about it. Leo pulled out his phone and showed him a picture of Asher from that day. looking startled by the robot. He quickly assured Asher he hadn't been spying, that it was a coincidence. Tears streamed down Asher's face, a silent testament to 5 years of pent-up regret. He had been so wrong to leave Leo in solitude. Leo panicked, wiping at his tears, telling him it was okay to be angry, that he would stay away if Asher wanted. Asher grabbed his hand. He told Leo his cooking was so good that he wanted to eat it every day for the rest of his life. Leo stared, disbelieving. Seeing his hesitation, Asher said it more plainly. "I like you." Took a moment for Leo to find his voice. He asked Asher not to lie to him. Asher smiled, assuring him he wasn't. He promised never to leave again. Suddenly, Mason's calm voice cut through the moment. "I was never angry with you, Asher. I knew about it 5 years ago. You shouldn't have hidden it from us." Mason explained that with his 2 years of medical training, he knew exactly what kind of medication Asher was taking. He knew that the year Asher took off before they met was for acute leukemia and a bone marrow transplant. Asher's secret was out. Near graduation, his leukemia had relapsed. The chances of a second transplant succeeding were low. He couldn't bear the thought of his friends seeing him weak and defeated. More than that, Mason continued, Asher already knew how Leo felt about him. He knew Leo's single-minded devotion and feared what would happen if he died. He chose to disappear to protect him. He was right. Asher held Leo's trembling hand and soothed him, telling him everything was okay now. Julian burst into loud, messy sobs, wailing about how his dad had deceived him and how sorry he was for misjudging him. Mason revealed the rest. He knew about the relapse, the hospital, and the slim chance of recovery. He had respected Asher's wish for privacy but had kept tabs on him. He knew when Asher's treatment was successful 2 years later, and when he had started his new life as a teacher. He just couldn't understand why Asher never came back. Asher admitted he was too ashamed. Julian, through his tears, said they would have forgiven any excuse, but Asher hadn't even bothered to lie, which hurt more. Asher then realized the viral photo had been a selfie from Mason's phone. The whole reunion, the show, it had all been orchestrated by Mason to bring them back together. On the final day of filming, they visited Asher's school. The children swarmed him, excited for his return but wary of the cameras and strangers. Julian tried to win them over by announcing he was a big star, but the kids were unimpressed, hiding behind Asher. Asher gently explained that these men were his good friends. Only then did the children relax. In that moment, the 3 powerful men were accepted not for their fame or wealth, but because they were friends with the teacher who cared for them. Leo brought out toy robots he had designed, which danced for the children. Julian performed a magic show. Even the awkward Mason was eventually roped into playing with a few of the kids. The show, which had started as a reunion, then devolved into drama, then blossomed into a romance, had finally found its heart. It was about friendship after all. Filming ended. Leo took Asher to his apartment. As the door opened, the small robot from their dorm room, now perched on a shoe cabinet, recognized him. Asher Cole, welcome home. Before Asher could ask Leo when he'd recorded that message, Leo's lips were on his. It was a fierce, desperate kiss. When they finally broke apart, Leo apologized for not being able to hold back. Asher just asked him why he ever felt the need to. They spent a chaotic, tender night together. The next morning, a phone rang. Leo answered it, not realizing it was Asher's. After a moment of panicked silence, he stammered a greeting to Asher's mother. He spent several minutes in quiet, respectful conversation before hanging up, his ears bright red. He told Asher that his mother had invited them both to visit. Asher teased him about being so nervous. Leo admitted he was afraid Asher's parents wouldn't approve. Asher laughed, telling him that after everything, his parents' only wish was for him to be alive and happy. Someone as brilliant and caring as Leo was more than they could have ever hoped for. Leo finally relaxed, confessing that his own parents had known about Asher for years. He had talked about him so much that his parents had joked he should just marry the guy. After Asher left, they had blamed Leo's difficult personality. Asher's heart ached for him. He pulled him close, whispering that it was his fault, and that Leo's personality was the one that fit his own perfectly. Leo, ever the opportunist, murmured that since Asher was at fault, he would have to compensate him again.